As a mom myself, and I have little kids too, I can only imagine how even his son felt being able to run with his dad, that we were able to provide this experience to him. And
this is Small Business Celebration, where we introduce you to successful small business owners at their place of business so that you can learn something that you can use today to grow a strong and profitable business and get your next big breakthrough. Welcome to another fantastic episode of Small Business Celebration. This week we're going to be talking about awards, reviews, or referrals, which will grow your business fastest. We're also going to be talking about inheriting your parents' business. Ask yourself these three things before changing anything about your business. And to guide us this week is Radha Amrutia, the owner of Bakersfield Prosthetics and Orthotics Center. Welcome to Small Business Celebration.
thank you.
And for Visioneers who don't know who you are you and what is it that you do?
Yeah, my name is Radha Amrutia. I am the owner of Bakersfield Prosthetics and Orthotics Center. I have been in this practice for 10 years now, and business has been standing for 27 years.
You didn't originate the business. Your father did.
That's correct.
And your father came over from the UK to start the business here in Bakersfield?
He actually started out in Africa. That was where he was born. Both of my parents were. And then from there, they moved to England, and that's where he got his degree in prosthetics.
And I'm sure he came to Bakersfield because of the climate.
Actually, that was 100% right.
Really?
He used to ride a motorcycle. He hated the weather in England. He was young, newly married, and he came from the NHS, who actually worked with the World War II veterans. So it was like an assembly line production for prosthetics, but he followed that pursuit with better weather.
Why Bakersfield?
Job opportunity, I think affordability was a big one. Although my parents came from England, they really didn't come with a lot of money for them. They really had to work on their own without family support to try to raise our family here, and it was the most affordable in California with the best weather possible.
One of the things we noticed when we were setting up for this conversation is that you guys have a full production facility here on site.
That's correct.
Did your dad choose to do that because he didn't like the assembly line system that he was working through the NIH system there in the UK?
Actually, the opposite. I think within our industry, it's really a testament to how good of a practitioner you are, knowing how to fabricate. And he had really great hand skills. He started off with wooden sockets to aluminum sockets to what we see now, which are acrylic resin sockets. So he's really seen a big change within our industry and has been able to keep up with that. And I think that's really set up the business for success in terms of quality of care for our patients.
When you were a kid, did you do show and tell?
I did.
I can just imagine what you would bring to class.
You know, growing up around this industry, I always had interest in things that my dad brought home. He would always have things that he was working on. So one time was a myoelectric arm, prosthetic arm. A myoelectric prosthetic arm.
What's that?
It's a robotic arm that actually opens and closes electronically versus a body powered, which uses our body to open it.
Okay.
So from there, I guess we had show and tell coming up first grade, and my dad was on board to bringing it. I wanted to bring it to school. I thought it was cool. I thought my friends thought it would be cool. And sure enough, we had a lot of screaming kids in that class, and pulling a desk across with an arm, it was unlike any experience, but it's definitely my earliest experience, really genuinely, being interested in the prosthetics field.
What attracted you to actually participating in your father's business?
A part of it was just genuine interest. I really had a background in liking to craft, to engineer, design. I was always working on some sort of projects, and I think my dad always saw a little part of what he does in the, things that I would try to genuinely pursue as a child. So I think he always spent a lot of time with me honing those skills, and maybe I didn't know it then, but I can see how all that translated to my skill sets now. I grew up in a lab with him. He taught me about plaster and materials even before I went to school. I spent summers here in the labs and helping him out as a technician. Obviously, I didn't know too much clinically, but that's really where I started off, was in the lab area.
There is a point in which, in every family business, especially when the child is gone to university, is now working in the business, that there's a point in which you realize that your parents trust you with the business?
It was proving it. Of course, this is something they work so hard for, and the last thing anybody would want is that I would take over prematurely without having enough time and experience. I just had to work really closely with my parents on not only the clinical side. Of course, I learned a lot in school clinically, but I would say really learning for 5 to 6 years, just managing the practice and learning from
the profit loss statement part of it.
Yeah, exactly. Applying my business background from college, which, you can learn all you can there, but really when you go into a business, you have to apply that and understand your industry to know how do those numbers work for this industry. I think it just took time. I had to prove myself. I had to make sure that I was able to understand what works for this business in our industry and, more importantly, in our community.
And one of the things that's also happening in the prosthetics and orthotics industry is there's tremendous consolidation going on right now. And being an independent business owner outside of the national chains is a challenge.
Definitely.
What have you done to grow the family business now that you're in charge, to be able to not just compete, but be able to surpass the national chains?
A big part of that was the Current Adaptive Sports Fair that we hosted and sponsored last year.
What's that?
So the Current Adaptive Sports Fair was an event that we hosted. We're hoping that it will be annually. And it's really an event that we put together to give opportunity for anybody that has any type of physical disabilities, whether it's their legs with paralysis or weakness, anybody that maybe relies on wheelchair transportation or has limited mobility, walking, or has restrictions with using their hands also. And then this also includes our amputees, anybody missing a limb or an upper body limb.
You actually have sports and contests?
Yeah, definitely. So with our fair, we actually had wheelchair basketball with sport wheelchairs. Our company sponsored and provided as equipment that's generally not covered for by insurance.
This way people know that it's available.
Correct, exactly. And with this fair, we were able to offer people that experience by bringing the equipment, bringing in high-level coaches. We had Matt Scott, who's a Paralympic wheelchair basketball for Team USA. He was here working with a lot of our participants that came to the event and gave one-on-one coaching. We had coaches coming for other sporting events, including adaptive weightlifting, which we actually had a gym set up and with handlebars that were specifically designed for people with disability. So with that, it allows the patient to really practice and learn skills in how to actually lift weights and take care of their own body. There's no class or courses once you have a disability or an amputation to learn all these different ways to stay mobile and to be functional and to stay safe in the process. So that access is just not there. And unless you know somebody who does this or specializes in it, there's no way for anybody to really access that knowledge and training. So our event created a platform for people to come there with these coaches that specialize in these very unique areas of adaptive sports with the equipment especially, which again, if it's not covered, how do people access this and be able to actually work on their health and to stay active and to stay healthy? And I think that platform, the feedback that we got was a lot of people were happy to meet other people that are also amputees that might be interested in playing basketball.
What was your favorite part of the event?
We had a patient who, he has a newborn. He was about 5 months old. He also had a 5-year-old, and the whole family came out for it. And he's also a younger guy, and he was able to run for the first time in about 10 years, possibly. And as a mom myself, and I have little kids too, I can only imagine how even his son felt being able to run with his dad. They both really love soccer. His son plays a lot of soccer, and he was like, this was I feel held back not being able to do that and to be able to run with my son and play soccer with him, something my son loves so much. And it was really touching to see that we were able to bring this to the community and to be able to provide that. Just really nice to see that we were able to provide this experience to him. And so as a company, we are trying to help him out right now.
And if you find that your business is growing, but the doors in your house squeak too much, the floorboards squeak too much, perhaps it's time to buy a new house. And to do that, I recommend that you reach out to Mike Saba, a Zillow Premier Agent with Watson Realty. Born, raised, and never left Bakersfield. Give Mike Saba a call at 661-203-8406 or reach him at mikesaba1@icloud.com today. And if you've got a question, you've got a thought, something you'd like to learn about here on Small Business Celebration, reach out to us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram, and your question could appear just like Fumi, who asks, awards versus reviews versus referrals. Which one wins customers fastest for your business and why?
This past year, I actually was a finalist for O&P Woman of the Year. And I was really honored to be considered for this nationwide.
Why is this award so important?
With the recognition that I got through the award for O&P Woman of the Year, I was able to use that to really gain better relationships with our O&P industry, manufacturers, and people donating towards our current adaptive sports fair. That brought resources to our community that generally probably wouldn't have been there,
right,
especially for free.
And how did this lead to your reviews and referrals?
Yeah, it definitely helped with our credibility and helped boost what we offer our patients, and word of mouth, of course, showing how we take care of our patients and the extent that we go to make sure that our patients are taken care of.
So was this one of those situations where somebody who knew nothing about your business went to the games and they said, oh, well, I need to go to Bakersfield Prosthetics? Is that what happened?
That was a huge highlight of our event, especially in the prosthetic trials area. There were even people that we know that came to support us, and they didn't realize what we actually do on a day-to-day and to what extent the hands-on and the alignment and working with the patients on their training and their gait and how to analyze that patient and just the technicality of it. I think it gave everybody a different perspective on how hands-on really this industry truly is and how much skill set it really requires for an individual prosthetist to work with one single patient and trying to ensure that they're safe and set up correctly.
And just because you have all of your limbs, but you have scoliosis, you can still get shoe inserts.
Definitely. We do all types of bracing. Off the shelf is a small part of what we do, but where we really shine is anything that's custom. We are trained to assess all of our patients and understand each individual needs. We can take that and design a brace and actually take that design to the back lab, melt some plastic, take a cast, and do everything hands-on. So it's truly a unique experience.
It's designed for you.
Yeah, and I think people looking for solutions and they aren't finding it from the stores, this is really where you want to end up, is in a facility that can actually truly understand so many different elements of your lifestyle, your activities of daily life, and understanding what your needs are at home or at work, and to be able to plan out what this device needs to do for you to be able to continue those activities.
And that brings us to the Visioneer Game. And the Visioneer Game is brought to you by Minimum Press of Bakersfield.
We use Minuteman Press in Bakersfield because they were able to get us a really great quality product and a very short notice, and the service was really amazing at a really low cost too. It was way more affordable than I was thinking, especially considering the turnaround time, and the quality was amazing. The imaging and sizing and everything was really flawless.
Clean, professional, branded, the kind of detail that makes clients say, yes, these people are the real deal. Call Minimum Press of Bakersfield 661-323-7757 or visit them at mmpbakersfield.com today. Now, Visioneers, if you're not familiar with the way the game works, I have a random word generator here on my phone. I have no idea what the random generated word is going to be, but more importantly, neither does our guest. And our guest has to take each of 3 words that I give her and somehow associate each word with her business. Now, Radha, you do realize that the fate of the entire prosthetic and orthotic world is on your shoulders. If you get any of these 3 words wrong, it's going to be utter catastrophe. People are not going to be able to get their prosthetics. They're just going to flail around on the ground and be absolutely helpless. I hope you get these right.
I hope so too.
Okay, your first word is source.
Source. We are the source of orthotics and prosthetics services.
Like the ones behind you.
Exactly.
Nice, you got the first one right. 1 for 1. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Your second word is lesson.
Lesson. We always need to learn lessons, sometimes the hard way, but hopefully always the easy way.
Nice, that's 2 for 2. Okay, it all comes down to this. Are you ready? Because if you get this one wrong, it's all for naught.
Okay.
Eyebrow.
Eyebrow.
Remember, it's a random word generator.
Eyebrows have a lot of emotions behind them, and sometimes it's really important in your industry, especially in a clinical setting, to keep your emotions in check.
Nice, that's 3 for 3. Well done, you. You have saved the prosthetic and orthotics world. Well done.
Thank you.
And now that you've had this life-changing experience and saved the universe as we know it, who would you like to thank?
I'd like to thank Lizette from Casador for the recommendation. And
Are you so sure?
yes, definitely. We've been working together for several months, and her services that she offers has really greatly benefited our business and has helped us take care of our patients.
How did you meet Lizette Gomez?
It was through a referral, and I actually was exposed to her company at the Bakersfield Women's Conference, and we also met through a mutual consultant, Shannon Lackey. Both things together, I was exposed to her business and her branding through that conference, but Shannon Lackey was the one that really truly introduced us, and the partnership worked out really well.
Why is the Bakersfield Women's Business Conference so important to the both of you?
For me, I am the only woman O&P facility owner in Kern County. For me, it was a platform that I felt like I could bring a new industry to this conference. It went really well. I think a lot of people didn't realize what we provided and the vast services that we offer. Although that we do orthotics and prosthetics, we also have mastectomy services here for breast cancer patients.
Wow.
And then we also do lymphedema and compression garments. So I think it was a nice platform for us, knowing that one, we are the only company led by a woman in our county for O&P, but then also that I was able to showcase the variety of services that we offer.
And that brings us to our second Visioneer question, which is also brought to you by Mike Saba, a Zillow Premier agent with Watson Realty, selling Bakersfield homes since 1992. Give Mike Saba a call at 661-203-8406 or reach him at mikesaba1 at iCloud.com today. Visioneer Adrian, who asks, I've officially taken over the business my parents built. What are 3 things you ask yourself before you change anything in the business?
That was something I had to really learn early on.
Don't rock the boat.
Rock the boat unless it needs to be. I really looked at first, obviously, any problems or setbacks or limitations. That was the very first thing. We have to just be able to identify what that is. And sometimes it might seem it's one issue, but if you kind of follow that issue, you might get to the actual root of it. So I think first is that identification process. Second is researching. We are a small industry with limited resources in the business aspect. So for me, it's important to not only look at my industry and what people are doing within my industry through research and reading magazine articles, reading about other practices, following them on Instagram and hearing about what services and things that they're offering across the country.
Instagram is your friend?
It is. Really also, I research other industries to understand how are other medical industries facing kind of similar issues, if it's between like staffing or billing or, you know, whatever it might be. not just looking within your industry to research, but really trying to see if there's other industries that can kind of mimic or match or maybe even just apply to what we are trying to resolve here. And then the last thing would be doing a cost analysis. Any type of change is going to be a cost, and even if you're trying to solve a problem, there is still a cost associated initially, and with downtime, implementation, and getting protocols put together, maybe even investing in a program, but just kind of understanding the benefits and outweighing the cost of what you're facing now as a problem compared to the cost of investing into resolving that issue.
How do you answer this question? But we've always done it this way.
That's a good one, especially with the company that's been in standing for 27 years. Unfortunately, every year things change within our industry, within the state, within the nation. So it's really important to keep up with those changes and understand that we have to stay competitive in whatever we're offering. What worked 10 years ago might not work now because needs change, policies change, and we have a due diligence in keeping up with those changes to make sure that your business can continue to grow. Change can be scary, it can be a lot of work, it can take a lot of time, but without investing that time back into your business, initial investments might be money, monetary, but from there it's really investing your time back into the planning of how you want that growth to look like.
How many years have you owned the business?
Since 2019, right before COVID hit, actually.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
How did you survive COVID?
It was not easy.
And this is, you had just bought the business.
So I was an owner for less than a year when COVID hit. I was actually also pregnant at the time. So
congratulations,
I
think.
I know, with baby number 2. So that year was definitely a big challenge. It really pushed me out of my comfort zone in trying to think outside of the box, kind of to what you were saying before, what works, but at a certain point, especially during COVID, a lot of those same things that we were doing as a practice no longer worked. Patient needs changed, timelines changing, our policies changing within the industry.
Tell me a story of a patient that impacted you because what you were able to do for them.
I set them up for as much success as possible. One is making sure they have my cell phone number. They always have some way to contact me directly. My personal cell is with pretty much every prosthetic patient of mine. Although we have a company line and we have all these other phone lines, I think it's important they know that I'm invested to the point that they can text me at any point. I'll come in on a Saturday, I'll come in in the evenings, I'll come in the mornings to meet a patient if they are, in a position where they're stuck, either literally stuck in their prosthesis,
right.
Or just really in a position where they can't be out of work and they just have this one day, one time. So just being accessible is a big part of that, and knowing that we have resources for them outside as a company that we fund to help them be more successful, and that's our Amputee Success Program. This is services we offer as a company. We don't get reimbursed for it. We don't charge the patient either, but it's really something that I formed to ensure that the patient's full outcome is really positive and try to make sure that, everyone's on the same page about what needs to happen to ensure the best outcome for our patient.
Radha, this has been a real treat. Thank you for joining us here on Small Business Celebration.
I appreciate you having me. Thank you so much.
And if Visioneers want to learn more about you, how do they get in touch with you?
Definitely. We have our website, bpocusa.com. We also have our Instagram. It's bpoc Inc. INC. And so you can follow us on Instagram. That has been a newer project for us, being on Instagram. So we love all the follows, and we like to try to share a lot of content about the services we provide, but also patient stories and just showing our lab work. You can see videos of us actually working in the back and making prosthesis and kind of seeing the work that goes on behind the scenes in our practice.
And I'll be right back with my final thought. If you want to be happy for an hour, eat a steak. If you want to be happy for an hour, eat a steak. Those were the famous words spoken by Nick Saban, the former head football coach of the Alabama Crimson Tide. He went on to also talk about that if you want to be happy for a day, play a round of golf. If you want to be happy for a week, take a cruise. If you want to be happy for an entire month, buy a new car. The problem is all those things are short-lived. In the back of our minds, we all want to go through and achieve something of significance. That's where real long-term joy comes from. The question is, how do you do that? Well, the answer is actually really pretty simple. Choose to be the best at what you choose to do. Sometimes you even get recognized for it. Now, at the time of this recording, I've just completed my term as president of the Executive Association of Kern County. It's Kern County's longest running business networking group, and they were very nice. They gave me this very nice plaque for recognition for my work that I did, and it's going to hang very prominently here in my office. But that wasn't all of it. You see, when I walked into the room, they played Hail to the Chief. You know, the music that they play for the President of the United States? They also made me sit on a throne and hold this scepter of this horrible glitter scepter and this awful crown. And they went through and they asked me all kinds of questions, and they did blooper outtakes from Small Business Celebration, and a good time was had by all. And the message was abundantly clear. I had chosen to be the best at what I chose to do. I had achieved significance. People got enjoyment out of what I was able to do. Build people up, help encourage people to be the best business owners they can be. Help business owners connect, make those connections, make those referrals, and help them each grow a strong and profitable business and get more long-term enjoyment than eating a steak and being happy for an hour. I hope you enjoyed our conversation this week here on Small Business Celebration, and I hope you learned something that you can use today to grow a strong and profitable business. And we'll see you here again next week when we celebrate another small business making a big breakthrough.